Hello, welcome back to the channel, and today we'll be talking about the top 10 quarterbacks. The idea is I'm going to have 10 videos over the next, 10 weekdays, I believe is the plan, with quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends, O-lines, D-lines, safeties, edge linebackers, cornerbacks, and coaches as the top 10 going into the season to cut down 2 more weeks until we're there. I think 3 or 4 weeks until College Football, 4 weeks. So that'll help cut down time for me, and hopefully you can help consume this content with me and watch it, and let me know what you think of these lists down below. But we'll start with quarterbacks today. The idea is to up the production level a little bit. I've got a little more free time this weekend, so I have highlights ready to go that should roll over as I'm talking about these guys. And, maybe I'll even work on getting a nice little fire intro and exit. But really appreciate the support on the Michigan Hype video. It was awesome. Most viewed video on my channel. Everything went crazy on it. So really appreciate the support on that. But let's get right into the video. Number 10 for the top 10 quarterbacks of the season. I guess I should probably explain what I'm trying to say when I say top 10 quarterbacks. I think this is like top 10 players that could perform. Best teams, kind of everything involved. Like when you think of like the best things happening, it's a combination of people coming back with some freshmen or some new transfers, things like that, and just overall environment. And just kind of explain my thought process on them and get them on the list. So number 10, Carson Beck for Georgia. He'll be coming in this year as the new starting quarterback after arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of college football left in Stetson Bennett IV. Now, Stetson is coming off of 2 national championship wins, back-to-back seasons, 1 loss in 2 seasons, which is absolutely unbelievable. And, Carson Beck comes into a pretty loaded system. He's got really good receiver in Lad McCarthy, really good tight end in Brock Bowers, a great defense behind him, and really good O-line, and D-line. Everything is really good on Georgia, and they have a potential to maybe upgrade this position. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be upgraded right away, but we saw a little bit of Carson Beck last year. We saw him come into the championship game and play very well. And everything we're hearing out of camp is he's doing everything he needs to do. And the way that Georgia's built, as crazy as it is they don't even need him to be that crazy. So even if he has a relatively, mediocre, air quotes, season, they're still going to be able to take care of business and find themselves in the championship game and win it based on what Vegas is saying. So Carson Beck, I think, will be is number 10 coming in for me. I'm sure he'll slide up this list throughout the year, but right now he's coming in at number 10. Number 9, we have a transfer from Wake Forest to Notre Dame. Sam Hartman, probably the best quarterback Notre Dame's had. Probably tied with Ian Book, because Ian Book really underappreciated quarterback in my opinion. One of the better guys we've seen in a long time, especially at Notre Dame. And Sam Hartman comes in with a lot of experience in Wake Forest. Obviously, a crazy career so far, where he had a rib injury or something. He had some sort of very scary injury. He got the rib taken out, and I think he's gonna make it into a necklace, like his own rib, which is kind of nuts. But also, you love to see that as a dog of a quarterback. He's going to have a really good offensive line behind it. Not so many, good skill positions, but I'm sure they'll just spawn 2 more tight ends because it's Notre Dame. That's kind of what they do. So we'll see how that all rolls out. But really, I think Notre Dame is going to be a pretty good team this season, and he's going to have a really good game. And, he'll be a good test for the Ohio State secondary to really see if they're up to scratch and if they've really figured it out in year 2. I doubt we'll see anything major at Notre Dame this year, but 9 or so wins, maybe even double-digit wins in a major bowl, I think will be a pretty good step up. But Notre Dame, obviously, the questions are more: are they going to find a conference, or probably not? But up next, we have Bo Nix, former quarterback of Auburn, went over to Oregon last season, had a really good year there, and decided to come back. That was obviously one of the bigger recruiting wins. They joke out in Eugene. Is that, they got Bo Nix to stay. He probably could have gone and got drafted. He decided to come back instead. Really good season for him last year. He's really, embraced and loved the offensive renaissance out there in Eugene, out in the Pac-12, right? I guess ex-Pac-12 now, but it is as of now. And they're spraying the ball around. He's really started to run the ball a bit more. A lot of the highlights should be going over right now are of him running. And I think that he's going to be able to run it back. No pun intended there. And they're going to do real good this season. And I think that we could find ourselves with Oregon right on the edge of the playoffs. A lot of soon-to-be Big Ten, but currently Pac-12 guys on this list. So, it's a very talented quarterback room for them. And we'll see how it goes going forward. Number 7, one of my favorite guys and favorite teams this year, Clemson's Cade Klubnik is coming in. He was a freshman last year. He was almost like the relief pitcher. He would come in after DJ would, do his thing. And unfortunately for him last year, he just didn't really gel with the team and the system. But Cade Klubnik would come in and save the day pretty much every time. And he kept doing it throughout the year. And he finally got the starting job, I believe, for the conference championship game against UNC. And then in the Orange Bowl, he took care of business as well. So he's a sneaky runner. With Will Shipley, he's really going to do a good read option thing there. He can pull it every once in a while. I mean, granted, a lot of the defense is there, thinking about Will Shipley running the ball more than Cade, clearly. But Cade has the ability to pull it and run, but he's more of a passer. But he was a freshman last year, super young, and he was doing his thing. I mean, he won the ACC championship game. He had a pretty good performance in the Orange Bowl. I know his stats weren't good and they lost as a favorite, but I don't even know, actually. I don't think they were a favorite, but they lost in general. And everyone was like, oh, this kid's not it. I completely disagree. I mean, a freshman in a New Year's Six bowl game against a team like Tennessee who's like had their best season ever, and like they're going out and going crazy about it. So, and by ever, I mean recently, but you know what I mean. And, but yeah, I think they're going to have a huge step forward, and Cade's going to be a major reason why they probably end up in the playoff. The team I have him facing the playoff in my brain here projected is the Michigan Wolverines, and their quarterback is J.J. McCarthy. Now, I'm a Michigan fan, so obviously I'm a little bit biased here, but I have him as the sixth quarterback in the country coming in. I understand that most people that don't really watch Michigan kind of watch an Ohio State game. You saw him run the ball, be tough, which is awesome. And you saw him, with those, air quotes, lucky throws down to Cornelius Johnson, a few other throws made, but nothing super special, right? Now, that being said, the next game you probably watched was the TCU game where he threw 2 pick sixes. So I understand if a lot of people are like, yo, this guy's not good. Like, I get it. That I completely disagree, obviously, as a Michigan fan. And in a lot of these plays you're going to see here, he loves running on the he loves throwing on the run. He's able to extend plays a lot. Really good arm. It's his first full offseason with the ones, because he was a backup quarterback, technically speaking, going into last season and was injured the season before. And now he's fully healthy. He's ready to roll. He's super, super much of a leader on this team. He's doing his thing, and I'm super excited to see how it turns out. And hopefully he leads Michigan to a playoff win in the national championship, which I believe is very, very, very possible. Number 5, another transfer, technically speaking, from Louisville a few seasons ago, Jordan Travis, quarterback, Florida State. Now, he kind of came out of nowhere last year. I don't think many people thought much of him, but he took over the reins at Florida State, helped save Mike Norvell's job. Not totally, but there was a lot of discussions, maybe, we should go get Dion. That's our guy. Let's bring him in. No need, because Mike Norvell and Jordan Travis are absolutely clicking right now. The second best quarterback in the ACC, behind a guy sooner on this list to be announced. But he's got a lot of skill positions that came in this year. He's got a tight end and a receiver make an appearance in my top list here. And his running back is very close. But they've got a better defense. They're starting to get some pretty good recruits now and as well. But I think Jordan Travis will be in New York for the Heisman. I don't think he'll win it, but I think he'll be in the discussion for sure. And I think he's going to help lead Florida State, to contention against Clemson and probably the ACC championship game. And who knows if they end up going to the Big Ten, them and Clemson, but a good season or two in the ACC would help improve their value and try to get another conference like the SEC or Big Ten to poach them and make them more money. Quarterback number 4, once again, another transfer from Arizona State 2 seasons ago, but now we have Jayden Daniels, the quarterback for the Louisiana State Tigers. Now, he had a pretty good season last year. Seems like a runner a lot when you watch these highlights, but he's got a dual threat ability. He can run it if needed, but he's a pass-first quarterback still. That mobility really helps bail him out a lot because, sometimes he likes to force decisions a little bit, but he's got no pro buzz, which I think is very interesting, but a good season behind LSU, which I have him winning the SEC West and, potentially getting into the playoff for the 4th spot if the Pac-12 and the Big 12, shoot themselves in the foot along with the ACC. But I think they're going to have a really good season. He's got another good defense with him. He's got a really good offense around him, some good receivers, really good running backs. And I think that they're going to make that step again next year. And not even step. They just run it back from last year. They'll have a better record, but it'll probably be the same outcome, losing the SEC championship game to Georgia. I would be surprised if it was anything but that. But they're looking to take the next step over Alabama and secure themselves as the second best team in the SEC behind the dynasty now known as Georgia. So I think he can do it. I'd be surprised if it doesn't happen, but hey, that's why we play the games here, and I'm just an armchair GM. Number 3, we've got Drake Maye, North Carolina's quarterback. He was a Heisman finalist, I believe. If not, I've been crazy. I think he was, right? I don't even remember the Heisman because obviously it was Caleb's to win, and we kind of knew that was going to happen. He will definitely be in New York this year, if not last year. I'm, again, not sure, but that's bad research by me, but we move. Guy sprays it all over the field. Probably going to be the second pick in the draft behind Caleb Williams. I'd be surprised if that was not the case. Definitely the second quarterback behind Caleb Williams. And I think he's going to be all over the field. He'll be doing his thing. He sprays it like nobody's business. That UNC system is awesome. Either it's, obviously a great system, or it's a, something came out of nowhere and you just have 2 generational type quarterbacks behind him. I know generational is probably an aggressive term for Drake Maye and Sam Howell, but for a school like North Carolina that doesn't really care about football in the grand scheme of things, more of a basketball institution, it's really something that's generational. And if that defense has a pulse, they will do really good this year, but it seems to be a big ask nowadays with Gene Chiswick's defense. So we move into the top 2, and this is where we might get some controversy. Number 2, I have Caleb Williams. Now, I understand he won the Heisman. He's got all the stats. He's going to go number 1 overall in the draft. He's got he can run it. He can do all that stuff. I agree. I'm just looking at this like I want my number 1 quarterback to be the guy that's going to win the Heisman. And voter fatigue does not allow people to win back-to-back Heismans. And I doubt they're going to let Caleb Williams win the Heisman. What do I mean by let? I think he'll probably have the stats to do it. I mean, we look at some of these other guys that have repeating seasons. Almost every guy that's won the Heisman in the last decade has had a better season the year after they won the Heisman, but that they don't even get it. Sometimes they don't even get invited. Bryce Young had a better season, arguably, after his Heisman-winning season. C.J. Stroud had 2 really good seasons. Granted, he didn't go. But there's a lot of quarterbacks that don't win the Heisman that are really good. That could be probably a Drake Maye type guy, or maybe even the guy at number 1. But I think Caleb Williams will have a great season. Hopefully they'll get a defense for his sake. But that's obviously out of his control. But he's got some more receivers coming in. Transfer Dorian Singer coming in from Arizona is going to be really good. We'll feature on my wide receiver list, not to tip picks. But Caleb Williams, there's not much to add to it, man. He's unbelievable. This dude, his highlight reel is like 20 minutes, which is crazy. Transferred as well from Oklahoma. So another crazy thing there, another transfer. But, yeah. Number 1 is also a transfer from Indiana. We have Michael Penix, the quarterback for the Washington Huskies. He was the leading passer last year, had the most pass yards out of anybody. I think he's going to build on it now. His defense is a bit better, so his team is going to get better, and that's important with the Heisman. As stupid as it is, the Heisman very clearly factors in team performance because Stetson Bennett was was very clearly not a top 5 player in the country last season, but he was a Heisman finalist anyway. And you look now at Michael Penix. He put up the stats behind it. He's got 2 pro receivers in Rome Ozune and Jalen McMillan. And the defense is getting better. Again, they have a really good schedule draw, in my opinion, and I think they'll be in the playoff. If there's a Pac-12 team, it's going to be them. And I think they'll win the conference in the last year that they're in it. And the last year, probably the conference exists unless they absorb the Mountain West. We don't really know how that's going to go, but we're down to Pac-12 to Pac-4 overnight. So that's pretty much all I have for now. I think Penix is going to be that guy. I probably should talk a little bit more about him to get some more highlights in there, but there's not just more to add for me. I mean, pretty much a lot of the stuff is guys you already know. And I think that Penix is going to be the best quarterback this season. I think he wins the Heisman. I know it's probably nuts, but yeah, that's just what I think. So let me know if you agree down below. If there's anyone I missed, I guess Drew Aller would be a big miss here, but I think that he's got to prove a bit more than what Carson Beck's walking into in Georgia. And I only have 1 freshman on there, but we have how many transfers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 10 were transfers at some point in their career, but only 1 this year transferred to a new team in Sam Hartman. So, yeah, let me know if you agree with this list. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.